Tonight's area is the torture chamber, where traitors are put to rest. Oh, I'm sensing an unusual presence tonight. What could be waiting for you?
Between the original Catherine coming out so long ago and the sheer amount of new content in Full-Body, I have to say that this experience felt almost brand new to me. I'd mostly forgotten the original game, and the new character Rin is injected into the story right from the beginning. There are also a few other ways Atlus have made Full-Body feel new, despite being something of an enhanced re-release in the same vein as Persona 4 Golden, but we'll talk about that a little later. At its core, Catherine Full-Body is well, I don't really know what genre this game is meant to fit into. Catherine Full-Body is an experience. It's a puzzle game, sure, but it's also like a feature film or TV miniseries, and it has the optional content structure of an RPG. It's also something of a social experiment. It is, first and foremost, a story, one where your choices really do matter as you draw ever closer to one of the 13 different endings. I'd say that it somewhat resembles a visual novel in structure, but the presentation and production value are off the charts. Almost the entire story is told through exquisitely crafted in-game cutscenes or beautiful anime sequences. Not to mention that everything, and I do mean everything, is voice acted. Even the menu options and tutorials are brought to life by a very smooth narrator.
Enjoy the story by taking control of our tormented main character and guiding him to freedom.
The voice work in general is exceptional. Now, there are three main things you'll be doing in Catherine Full-Body. You'll be kicking back and enjoying the story, completing platforming puzzle sequences, and doing a raft of optional things in the bar or on the landing. I'm hesitant to talk about the story because that really is the draw of this game, but I have to say a little bit to give some understanding behind the game's structure. You play as Vincent, a man who is either down on his luck or really rather lucky depending on who you ask, especially with the ladies. He is in a relationship with Catherine with a K, but it isn't long before Catherine with a C and Rin, also known as Catherine with a Q, make their way into his life. To compound the stress and confusion of this love quadrangle, every night Vincent falls asleep, he finds himself in a hellish landscape surrounded by sheep and is forced to scale an impossibly tall tower. The real world and this place you get sent to in your dreams are intertwined. The sheep you're surrounded by, they're other people. You'll have the opportunity to talk to each and every one of them many times over. This is totally optional, but man do I recommend doing it. There are some great little stories told through these interactions, and you'll really get a sense of who the person behind the sheep really is. Back in the real world, you'll also get to spend time in the bar, drinking, chatting, watching the news, among a few other things, including an arcade machine which plays just like the nightmare puzzle sequences. Doing things in the bar is also totally optional, but once again, it's recommended. I mentioned 13 different endings earlier, and one of the ways your ending is determined is by your alignment. The game's events and the choices you make can push the needle towards either chaos or lore, and talking with people in the bar will open up a ton of dialogue options you can use to manipulate your alignment. Once you decide to leave the bar and head home, you'll quickly fall asleep only to find yourself back in the sheep-infested nightmare world. This is where the main gameplay aspect comes in. The tower you need to climb is made of giant blocks. You'll need to move the blocks around, maneuver around traps, dodge enemies, and utilize special items to climb your way to the top. The platforming puzzles might seem simple at first, but it's surprising how complex they can become. There are 4 different difficulty modes which can be changed at various points during your playthrough. You can be very challenged by these puzzles, or you can sit back and breeze through them. For veterans of the original release, there is also a remix mode. This adds brand new block shapes into the puzzles, and you'll have to approach each level with a different mindset than before. Nightmares are split up into stages, with each stage containing a number of floors. Between each floor, you'll find yourself on a landing where you can chat to the other sheep people and also the new character Rin. This is also where you'll answer questions about life and relationships, and these will eventually come into play when determining your ending. If you've enabled online features, they'll even show you a breakdown of what other players chose before each new floor. You'll interact with a mysterious voice a lot in this section. He seems to be the one that's controlling all this nightmare stuff, and he sounds exactly like Noah from that virtual reality season of Yu-Gi-Oh!
My magic card, Ice Age Panic, is about to lead to your extinction.
I sense a force of change rising up. What exactly happened in the other world?
It is shocking then that the mysterious voice is not voiced by the same person who did Noah, but rather Yuri Lowenthal. Since there are so many different endings and so many different ways you can make a new playthrough feel fresh, Catherine Full-Body has tremendous replay value. The way the endings work means you only really need to play from the beginning or from an early save a total of 3 times. Play the game up to the first floor of Chapter 9, once for each alignment, Chaos, Law, and Neutral, and make a save file for each of them. You'll be asked a set of questions on this floor which, when combined with your alignment, will determine what ending you get. So all you have to do is make the choices and play through the last section of the game, then reload and make different choices. At least this is how it worked in the original Catherine, which only had 8 endings. There may be some other requirements for some of the new endings, but I'm not sure at this point, having only done 2 playthroughs so far. You really have to experience Catherine Full-Body yourself to get why it's so good. Having me explain it to you and watching gameplay footage just doesn't do it justice. It's such a unique game, and I can easily recommend it to just about everyone. If you played the original, there is plenty here to make your second dip enjoyable, and if you haven't played Catherine before, well, you're in for a treat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.
Thanks for the